Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video I want to talk about a radio antenna selector switch that I made myself. That just is a video that can give you an idea if you look for a similar item or a project to do. This is just the idea. There is of course X possible ways to set such an item up, and it depends on what machines, materials and ideas you have. So maybe that's something for you. That's why I make the video. Now the way this one is set up, I used some copper parts and oak wood that I later stained in a walnut color. It has a setup that it is angled for put on the desktop, so it's easier to use and switch. We have on top the 1, 2, 3 are places for the antenna, for 3 different antenna. We have on the back side the cable coming out here for the 3 antennas, and they are all numbered and marked which one is which. So I'm gonna go from left, middle and right for the antennas. And then we have more switches, 5 switches, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for different radios. They come out on the other side, on the other hole, with the 5 cables also marked, so that you can switch from up to 3 antenna to up to 5 different radios, and that is quite likely as much as I ever gonna use in my personal setup. Of course you can alter that to make the switch on how many that you wanna use. So we have here the current setup is on antenna left to 1, 2, 3 to the 3rd radio, and it's easy to switch. You simply switch that over. Now we would have the middle antenna on the 3rd radio. We can switch that over here. Now we have the middle antenna with the 2nd radio. I think you get the idea. The whole thing is made with copper, what we could find, what we had. So basically the cable, each cable is connected with one of the copper parts, and then that get over to the middle and then further over to the radio that you selected. So it's pretty easy to make and easy to see how that simple design works. There is only, because it's copper, it may tarnish depending on the humidity and all that. So from time to time you may need to polish up the copper parts where they connect with a bit sanding, emery cloth, sandpaper, or steel wool, something like that. We can't coat it of course with a clear coat, because we need the copper on copper so that the whole thing, what goes through it can actually connect. So we cannot clear coat it. That would completely not work in that case. So why would you like to have such an item? Well, if you are into shortwave radio like I am, you may set up different antenna for test out what you get with different style of antennas, be it out of the house, be it in the house. It depends on a lot of factors on what you're gonna get on the shortwave frequencies. So usually as higher up as the antenna is, as more you get. Problem is not everybody has a little paradise like I have, where you can hang the antenna how you want. So if you live in an apartment, you may have the balcony where you can mount the antenna without disturbing too much for the neighbors or the landlord. and then you can test that one out. Maybe you have an antenna that goes towards a garage indoors that you could set up too and test, and maybe you have outside space, so you want to test an antenna as high up as possible. Maybe you have one that follows a fence or something, so that gives you then the possibility to switch the radio antennas really fast with leaving it on your favorite radio, that you can test out what you're gonna get on the same frequency with one radio from multiple antennas. Which one gonna be best? That is uneasy to say. That depends on a lot of factors like the weather and how it is set up, so that you see in which direction it goes to have a best shortwave receivement in your area. The same or similar is with the different radios. If you figured out which antenna is the best, as an example, you can leave it on top on that antenna, and then you hook up the different radios that you have, the shortwave radios, put them all on the same frequency, and then you can quickly switch the antenna to the different radios to test which radio gives you the best receiving of the shortwave frequencies on a certain range, and that you see which radio would work best with that setup and which with another setup. Not all radios are the same, of course, so there is a lot of differences as well. So that is fun to test that out, and that you can quick switch from the radio, from one radio to the other radio, and test that out. So that's why I made that setup. That is basically the reason. I did look for buying one online. I did not find much that I would say that would have worked, plus the prices were relatively high. So I looked for a project to make one for myself, and that was the idea that I got. So yeah, I quick made that for this video and for later use, of course, so that we can test that out, and with the copper connections it should work really well. So that much about the radio and antenna selector.